All right, y'all. Welcome to episode 6 of Vino Conversations. Today, I'm joined by my boy, Jerrell. What's up, Jerrell? How you feeling, bro?
Good job, my brother, man.
You
Appreciate
know
you
how it
having
is,
me,
bro.
yo.
Long time coming because we be having these pods ourselves naturally at the crib type shit.
Exactly.
Now we got to get it on camera.
Now we here, so.
For sure, bro. We got to start with the
Brother.
cheers as always. Cheers, my boy.
Yes.
We're drinking on Literaria 42. I do speak Spanish. Cabernet Sauvignon from the Maule Valley in Chile. So let me have my sip here. I'm gonna let you go first in terms of what you taste and how you feel about it.
Nah, this is smooth. Especially as someone I've been trying to get into reds too. So it's a little bit lighter, dry, I think, in it. And it has I definitely taste the darker fruit.
Yeah.
So nah, this is something I would drink. As someone that's been trying to find a red.
A red? Yeah.
I'm taking this from you. So.
Word. And I say it's got like a boldness to it, but it's not overly heavy. And I feel like actually California Cabernet Sauvignons can be a bit heavier than this one from Chile. And I've actually never had one from Chile. When I shop in that sort of region for wines, usually it's a Malbec, which is also pretty comparable to like Cabernet if you like that. So yeah, red is nice because it's a little more sippable. I feel like white wines and rosés, I just be wanting to chug down. So yeah, it's a nice little vibe here. But I like it. And also Chile, very underrated country for wine. And you'll usually get a better bang for your buck. Like last episode, I had a Portuguese wine. That's another country that I feel like is a little bit of a better bang for your buck. Because honestly, it's based on marketing. Like France, Italy, Spain is like the big three. You know what I'm saying? And so if it's from there, they can kind of charge what they want because people will pay the shipping on it. Yeah. But some of these smaller countries, they be having some fire shit. South Africa, New Zealand, Austria as well. So.
Cool,
Yeah, bro.
I need a starter pack.
Yes, sir, bro. Come on, man. Pack. Absolutely. Gotta have the Vino Vriday wine eventually. So
most definitely.
But nah, bro, appreciate you for pulling up. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot to talk about. But I always call you the mayor of Flatbush. I feel like you look like the mayor of Flatbush right now.
Something like that.
So talk about a little bit where you from, your neighborhood, what that's like in Brooklyn, and what it's like growing up for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's dope. It's dope that you started calling me that because it's something I've tried to adopt and like having that pride in your neighborhood. Yeah. So so born and raised in Flatbush through and through. My parents moved there in the 90s. Born and raised in the same apartment in Flatbush in central Brooklyn. My mom's Grenadian and my dad's Guyanese. And that more or less speaks to, and they're also immigrants. So that more or less speaks to Flatbush history as being as like a Black Caribbean immigrant neighborhood in central Brooklyn.
Absolutely.
It's crazy to think about it, and I know we're gonna get into it more during the pod, but like the jerk chicken spot that I grew up with is actually closing down. So it's just that's thinking crazy. Through, and it's crazy because I always speak about Flatbush as like it's one of the neighborhoods that has retained this culture for a variety of reasons. Yeah. There definitely is new housing development. There's some gentrification, but I feel like because the way the housing structure is, like not too many people have left, but it's like. The changes are coming for better or for worse. But more or less, tight-knit neighborhood, very Caribbean. We're right less than a mile away from where Labor Day is hosted. So you would hear the music, people doing it when it's night mass, people playing music. Right. So I've always been around the Caribbean culture. And it's just, as I've gotten older, I've seen like how much it's had an imprint on me, right? Like, I meet people from Haiti, Trinidad, DR, and it's like, yo, I've been around these people my whole life. Yeah. In addition to that, there's a small African population too. A lot of people from Guinea and West Africa. So,
wow.
Very diverse neighborhood, long-standing history. Yeah. And, it's like, I talk about like, I go to a lot of, different events, young professional events.
For sure.
Parties, and it's like, I'm always trying to find like where's the people from Brooklyn, where's the people from Flatbush. Yeah. And so that's why I've like, when you started saying the mayor of Flatbush, I feel like it's something that I've adopted. And there's plethora of mayors of Flatbush. Like people who host like Lips, they're doing big things in Flatbush. Bro. Yeah, shout out to him.
Big time.
So it's like just knowing that there are young people putting on for the neighborhood, it's great. And I'm happy to be a part of it. So I wear it on my sleeve.
For sure, bro, for sure. And I guess how do you feel about the way Flatbush has changed? Because as you said, it is quite a bit different than I live in Bushwick, and we know Bushwick has changed completely, the last 20 years. Williamsburg as well. Bed-Stuy's gone through a crazy change too. Even though I'd say Bushwick and Bed-Stuy still have their parts that are pretty regular and untouched, like around Maria Hernandez Park, right? That's not the most gentrified part of Bushwick compared to some of the other areas with the nightlife and whatnot. So I guess, how do you feel about the Flatbush situation? Because it's being gentrified a little bit, but it's not at the same level. But then, as you just mentioned, you got your jerk chicken spot closing down.
Yeah.
So what's that kind of been like to see how Brooklyn changed and then seeing, oh shit, it's kind of coming to my neighborhood?
So pros and cons
Yeah.
always. And I'm not someone that's like vindictive. And I'll talk about my career a little bit more, urban planning and just understanding what happens in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But like I said, in Flatbush, there's a lot of rent stabilized units. So these are older apartments that you can't raise rent by too much. Like there's a board that decides how much the rent goes up. Whereas like a lot of new developments aren't like that, so they could get spiked from year to year. So that's why many people haven't left. So I feel like there's still, while there's new development, move people moving in, we still have a lot of people that's living with under market rate rent, like cheap, under $1,000 for
Crazy.
2-bedroom.
And are those black owned by the people that live there?
Not always.
But like higher rate maybe?
My apartment, so I mean many people are renters, but my apartment is owned by a Trinidadian man, which is also kind of crazy. He owns 3 buildings and he said he's never selling them.
Good for him, bro.
So
That's how you keep the neighborhood together.
Exactly. Yeah. But to talk about Flatbush change and the neighborhood change. So because of that, it hasn't changed too much. And it's pros and cons, right? Like there definitely was like more ownership, single family housing that was in Flatbush that, you know, a lot of those people sold because they got a bag waved in front of them and you can't blame them. So that contributed to some of the development. But honestly and truly, when you talk about a place like Lips or you look at Rogers Garden on just the Nostrand and Rogers Strip, there's a lot of black owned businesses.
Yeah, bro.
Black owned Caribbean businesses, you know, vegan, healthy businesses, smoothie shops, cafes, things that I didn't have growing up.
Oh,
right?
Really?
You know, growing up, I ate my mom's food, pizza, Chinese food, and then Popeyes came a little bit later. That was my rotation. And it's like now, like, you know, there's a French spot. There's a black owned Caribbean spot. There's a black owned cafe that I could go to. You know, there's spaces that I could actually chill. So I think what's important about neighborhood change is that it's being controlled by the neighborhood and that the younger generation is being a part of the new development, right? So when you see Lips Cafe, you see that it's young and it's owned, and a lot of young people congregate there. That's why, like, you know, that's why I've thrown my events there. You've thrown Vino Friday twice now, and it's like, it's good having those spaces in our neighborhood, like having the variety. So it's pros and cons, and I feel like Flatbush has been able to at least retain some of those black-owned businesses that black-owned spaces that people like me would, you know, happy to have some amenities now. So it's pros and cons.
No, sure. I got you. And then in terms of housing, as you mentioned, I feel like at least when I'm out there and I go there relatively consistently because I have the connection with Lips Cafe, but also my hair braider just moved out there as well, so I'm getting my hair braided out there too. I feel like there's not a crazy amount of like the brand new apartment building, high rise.
It's not
you know
too
what I mean?
much.
And I feel like that helps slow down the gentrification.
Exactly.
Because you're not just bringing in all the transplants where they're flooding to Williamsburg and places like that.
Exactly. So. It's definitely a process, and it's been a little slower in Flatbush. So
fire, bro. But the way that we met was actually upstate, so outside of the city in Rochester, New York, University of Rochester. So obviously we both went to that school, but how was your experience there in terms of using those 4 years as a way to kind of gear you up for this urban planning career, and kind of how you found your way into getting to this career? You know, was it something you knew you had fresh out of high school? You know, I know you was also on the football team. That was probably a big part of your college experience as well. But yeah, how was your time at Rochester and how to get you to where you are today?
So crazy enough, and it's funny because I entered University of Rochester as a biomedical engineer.
My major, did you really?
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Not too many people knew that. Not too many people know that.
That's crazy. The name sounds mad cool.
It's exactly. We're gonna get into that. So I played football for 9 years total. My last 2 years were in college. I played my freshman and sophomore year, and in high school, you know, I wanted to go to the league, wanted to go D1.
Yeah.
Cards didn't get dealt that way. My coach was like, Jerrell, you got good grades. I want you to be an engineer. And I'm like, oh,
yeah, that
sounds cool. You feel me? Like, I was always into like pre-med. I took like a lot of those AP science classes, but I was like, oh, I can combine engineering and the biomedical stuff. And that's literally how that happened. So I literally only applied to schools that had good engineering programs and football.
Damn, that's so
and
funny, bro.
That's how I ended up at Rochester.
Yeah.
Did the summer program in ECO, was in the engineering program. And I don't think the work was that hard, but it was tedious. And a lot of the engineers that I met, like, they did not sell me on the engineering dream in Rochester. Like, I met a lot of people, met a lot of professors, and I was a part of the summer program being exploratory. And I just wasn't jiving with it. I'm like, nah, if this is gonna be my 4 or 5 years here,
That's
like I
crazy.
want to enjoy it. So went into Rochester as an anthropology major. Had two black women professors, so someone that taught Margarita Guillory, religion and hip hop, and then anthropology. And after that semester, it was great. Learned a lot from those two professors, and that winter I really came back and was like, yo, what do I want to do? And I spent a lot of time walking around my neighborhood. And like the football season didn't go that great, and I'm like, all right, I really had to redefine myself for what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Started noticing the gentrification. Right across the street from my building, two single black owned houses. So this is ownership. Were on my block, and both of those families sold. Both of those families sold. I think it combined like 9.5 million. So they both sold.
I mean,
and it's a good bet for their family, right? You could get multiple houses other places, right?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to understand what was happening in my neighborhood. So that's how I stumbled upon urban planning.
Okay.
And I actually was gonna transfer. I was like, all right, Rochester doesn't have urban planning. Yeah, Rochester doesn't have urban planning. So walked into my my advisor from OMSA, Mr. Cruz, and I was like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm going back to the city.
That's the OG for real.
Mr. Cruz. Solid. That's my guy, man. Still chat to this day. And he was like, why don't you create your major? We have an interdepartmental studies department. And then boom. So I created a major in urban studies. And that literally, I knew I wanted to be an urban planner. I made sure I checked the market too.
Yeah.
I made sure that, it was a good job field that I would have security, make a decent amount of money going forward.
Yeah.
So I knew literally from freshman, sophomore year from there. But it took some self-discovery for me to figure out how I wanted to become an urban planner. So.
Yeah. I mean, shit, that's what part of college is about, is like finding yourself and figuring out, what's the best way to go about things. Because it is very easy to just stick through that major that you initially picked, kind of arbitrarily in a way, and just suffer through it. And some people suffer through that, not just in college, but as a career, and they just never do what they want to do. And I'd say in the past, it was probably worse in the 80s, 90s type shit, especially when education was really the only way to a lot of, or it was more of a guarantee to a certain bag and certain level. You kind of just did that, and people wasn't even switching companies back then. People just kind of, whether it was college, whether it was companies, whether it was majors, people just kind of accepted what it was. So I do appreciate that our generation, though we get a lot of shit from older folks, that like we kind of do those bolder things and switch majors or switch jobs, switch careers, and like we just don't put up with certain shit. It's something I kind of noticed about
it's
late millennial, early Gen Z people type shit. So
it's definitely a pride thing. I mean, so why did you end up sticking with biomedical engineering?
Yeah, I mean, so my biggest goal through that major was like, how can I contribute to overall global health, period type shit. So with biomedical engineering, we had different sorts of focuses. So one of them was biomechanics, which is what I was interested in. And so biomechanics is, you can kind of tell by the name, is about the mechanics of the body and kind of how it functions and whatnot. And so through that time, I was able to get a couple internships with Cornell University, researching things that have to do with like bone diseases, which plagues a lot of people. You know what I mean? So arthritis, the kind of pain that brings on the elderly, and even learned that it has some ways that it can develop aside from just being overweight and obese, which we thought was kind of the main way that you get it, or kind of injuries from sports. But even your gut microbiome and the kind of mess of bacteria there can affect and eat away at your cartilage and create these sort of issues. So really cool research there. Another one about osteomyelitis, which is a bone disease where the bacteria gets too deep to like your bone caves. And then essentially it can kind of eat away at you and cause an amputation. And it's something my dad almost had to have as a child. Was that same bone disease sort of thing. So I just want people to be healthier and like do what I could to contribute towards it. I did realize kind of eventually, one, within biomedical engineering, I was better at like presentations and working with clients. And that's why senior design, which is like real work, was low-key my best class, more so than just like pen to paper solving problems. Because like that personal connection, presenting about these ideas, and kind of the business side of the medicine I was better at, even though I could do the research. I felt like that excelled better for me. But at the same time that I was doing that, one of my internships junior year was 2018 during the World Cup. And that's when Wavy Footy started, and I realized my passion and skill set, even if I can't do that medical stuff, like it's even better and more groundbreaking in this kind of content world, creating like a Black soccer culture that does not exist. So, and through sports, you can still promote health and all sort of things. So, yeah, the overall purpose of it was really about like making the world healthier, contributing to that sort of thing. But in terms of a long-term career, I don't think that's the best way I can contribute anyways. So yeah.
But yeah, you see how you still threw out them terms? You feel
Yeah.
me? He's still an engineer.
I'm a
He still
public
got it.
scientist. If you Google
He's
me,
still
like
an
I'm a
engineer.
co-author, bro. It's
He threw out
crazy.
some dictionary words.
Definitely,
He knew off the
bro.
top of the head. He didn't
Come on, don't get me started. I wasn't ready for that question either. That's how you know it's real.
He's still an engineer. So
You know what I'm saying? Don't get it fucked up. But now, so after that, returned to New York City. Well, shit, you went to college during COVID.
Did.
I graduated 2019 right before, so I'm
Right.
Gucci. How was that before we talk about you getting back to New York?
I mean, for me, I was just so focused. Like I said, I knew I wanted to go to grad school. So what I
Yeah.
ultimately did, I just hunkered down.
Mhm.
Yeah, 2020, like literally, I remembered a lot of it was, you know, either programming on campus or like applying to grad school. So like that summer before, you know, I was doing my Fulbright application, gave me some time to lock in. Applied for took a grad school course that helped me apply to grad school. I applied to 10 schools. So honestly, I just hunkered down.
Yeah.
I was already like, I knew what my next step was, and I honestly like it gave me more time to lock in. I'm gonna be honest with
Yeah.
you. And shout out to not shout out the pandemic. But
Yeah.
it did save me. It did save me because that was probably one of my hardest semesters.
Yeah.
And literally, like, if if the pandemic didn't happen, like that probably would have been my worst semester in school. So I mean, no, it's not to shout out the pandemic, but you know, in my case, it did help. And then I also was doing a lot of work back in New York City virtually with Strategy for Black Lives.
Yeah, talk about that, bro. For sure. Put people on.
Yeah. So Strategy for Black Lives is a youth-led organization founded by 3 of my friends. In 2020, after the murder of George Floyd, we started off leading protests, thousands of people throughout New York City. Did an advocacy day in Albany in 2020, went down to DC, march on Washington. So we were just a group of young people, young educated young people that were leading protests in 2020 during that summer, making sure people were safe. But just given our skill set, a lot of people were college educated, were like CUNY presidents back in New York City, had a lot of organizing experience. We made sure people were voting, filling out their census. That was a lot of our messaging. And then throughout the years, we've developed into a youth organizing group that's dedicated to developing a comprehensive strategy for to enhancing the quality of life for Black people. So through that, we've started done a plethora of programming. We given out It's a Strategy scholarship. Done a lot of like voter registration, political awareness, civic engagement, community cleanups. This year I championed the Black Fatherhood Circle, where we brought 75 Black fathers from the tri-state area to come in small groups, speak about their experience as a Black father. We brought in a therapist and brought in a few public speakers.
Beautiful, bro.
And then we've been doing this year we had our 5th annual Juneteenth event, making sure that we commemorate that holiday for Black people. So it's a dope space that I was so thankful for the founders. That one of them I went to middle school with, one of my fraternity brother Francie, and then one of his best friends Patrick. They really developed me because like I was in Rochester and I was so disconnected, right?
Yeah.
They were mainly CUNY students. They all had a lot of connections with elected officials, knew how to organize, and like they really took me under their wing and like got into me where I'm at now. So once I came back to the city, I just hit the ground running. So no, it's good to see it grow organically, and I'm looking forward to where we take it. So
yeah, no, 100%, bro. And so did that help you get into the career you have now in terms of your position that you currently have as well?
In terms of work?
Yeah, in terms of work. And I know you got to talk about NYU as well.
Yeah,
He does have a master's degree from NYU. Stop playing. You know
yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Humble brag. But not necessarily, but the skills, right?
Gotcha.
The skills, knowing how to run a program, knowing how to get elected officials to come to your program. It always gets speaked about, and people love hearing what you do outside of work. So I wouldn't say it helped me get my role, but it helped me sharpen certain skills that allow me to be in my current role or whatever roles I go forward. So
got you.
Yeah, big up Strategy. I'll follow us on Instagram, Strategy for Black Lives, FOR, not the 4. So
for sure, bro. But yeah, talk about NYU, talk about that experience, what exactly your degree was in, how long you were there, and then, you know, getting into your career that you're at now. So
yeah, so I jumped right into grad school after graduating from U of R in 2021. Entered NYU for a Master of Urban Planning. And many people ask what urban planning is. You know, not too many people know about the field. So Urban refers to, basically geography is synonymous with city.
Mhm.
So more or less urban planning is the study of cities, the study of how we use our resources within that geographic confines, and how does policy impact the quality of life for people living within the city. Um so through there, my 2 years at NYU was smooth. While I was there, I was interning. Well, I first was interning for a Caribbean market in Flatbush that was getting redeveloped. So
Is
there
that the same
was,
one we had the birthday?
yep, exactly.
Wow.
Flatbush
Yeah.
Kate and Market. Now it's Flatbush Central Market. So I worked for the team that was redeveloping that market in their last stages until opening. They were operating out of temporary market in another part of Flatbush before they moved. So I was working with them. And it was good because I grew up right literally a block away from that project.
Crazy, bro. Full
So
circle.
exactly,
Yeah.
very full circle. And then I interned with the mayor, the
The
new
current mayor?
current mayor Eric
I didn't
Adams.
even know you've done that,
I
bro.
was
You
I
were,
was
man?
I was
That's
his.
crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if you're gonna cut that out, but
Nah, we're
I
not
was a
cutting
part
none
of
out,
I
bro.
was a part of his first class of interns.
Okay.
And I interned for him twice while I was at NYU. And the thing about urban planning, right? The classes were great. I learned a lot. The professors were great. The people that I met were great. The network, I was learning so much. I was one of the youngest people in the program. But one thing that really sticks with me that my program director said, Dr. V, is that urban planning is a rocket science, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what she meant by that and is that people understand housing, people understand transportation, like these are things that we get affected by every day. And it's like in my own personal life, like I go speak to middle school students at different career days. I'm one of the few Black urban planners that many of my friends have, and it's like I ask people what is urban planning. Many people don't know, but I'm
Yeah.
like, how many people have heard their parents complain about rent, and everybody hands go up. How many people might live near a highway? People hands go up. How many people take MTA and public transportation? So
Yep.
it's good that it's an advanced degree. That taught me a lot of skills that helps me understand government, housing, real estate, all those good stuff. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, like this is all relatable to everyone's experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it meant even more for me because I remember back when I was a freshman looking at this field, only 5% of urban planners are Black.
And that's a problem because the
Right?
biggest cities are quite Black.
Exactly.
New York, Philly, DC, Chicago, LA, whatever.
And
Yeah.
these are people making decisions on how you live, right? Like if a truck goes through your neighborhood and affects your air. And that really meant part of it. Like that was part of the motivation for me. Like I'm gonna be one of the Black urban planners. And now I want to champion the field. So that's why every chance I get to talk about it, and I do. So I appreciate you asking for real.
No, of course, bro. And then to describe your exact current role so people can have a title and kind of understand what that entails.
Yeah. I currently work for the State Housing Agency, New York State Homes and Community Renewal. So the agency more or less operates as a bank. We have funding programs that fund housing across the state, Long Island to Western New York, Buffalo.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
And in my role specifically, our team, we're responsible for advocating for MWBEs, that's Minority Women Business Enterprises, and they're basically
fire.
like contractors that are supposed to get 30% of our funding. So if you have this certification, if you're a minority or woman business enterprise, and you have a construction company, security company, cleaning, demolition, windows, 30% of our funding for each project that a developer gets needs to go to you. So my team is actually responsible for engaging with that community, finding ways to get them on contracts and making sure that there's passageways for them to elevate. So
That's fire, bro. I had no idea. Does
Yeah.
media count? I'm like, I might need to get it on this, bro.
You could try to find a lane. There's always a way
But
to
is it
find
more
a
like
lane.
a physical sort of thing? Or?
Yeah, it's
Okay, that
really
makes sense.
construction contractors. So
So you as being not just examples, but like specifically, it's that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah.
That also makes sense. I mean, to be related to urban planning,
Yeah.
this doesn't necessarily hit the mark. I understand.
Hey man, I like the energy though. Always
Listen,
trying to
bro.
find ways to get money and
Yeah,
grants. you
facts.
feel me?
I'm trying to amplify the message. You feel me? That's
That's a
part
fact.
of it type
That's a
shit.
fact.
So, nah, 100%, bro. But let's talk about urban planning more in general. Kind of what makes a great city. We live in New York City, my favorite city in the world. I know your favorite city in the
Energy.
world.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of great things about it. There's a lot of pretty terrible things about it. But yeah, I mean, even America is just like such an interesting place because I say, how in the same country do you have your two biggest cities being New York and LA that are completely
So
diametrically
different.
opposed in terms of urban planning? Then you
So
got
different.
Houston, which is kind of like that LA vibe, but then there's Chicago and Philly, which are more like New York. And then you have DC, which is, I say more in the northeastern vibe, but still kind of set up in a weird way with very wide, long streets, which I know is also about national security, things of that nature. Then you got the Southeast with Florida and Atlanta and all that. Then you got the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland. So I guess what are the kind of key things to a city that's kind of necessary? Then what's your thoughts on just what America has and all that different type of stuff?
Yeah. So one thing I've realized just from studying cities, this summer is the first time I went to Houston. I haven't touched the West Coast yet, so I know that's on
You haven't been to West
my
Coast?
agenda. Nah,
Oh,
bro. That's on my
shit.
agenda.
Weren't you supposed to go out there?
I was supposed to go to the
Okay.
Bay last October.
Okay.
I was supposed to stay half in Oakland, half in San Fran.
Okay.
My friend in San Fran had a family emergency, had to come back to the East Coast.
Okay.
And then my man's in Oakland, he actually got COVID.
Damn.
So that was gonna be my first time in the West Coast.
And the Bay is different than LA,
Exactly.
super different.
Exactly.
Which is different from San Diego, bro.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
So
it's crazy.
I would say in America overall, generally, you have to think a lot of things are culture based and shaped, right? So in New York, the people who were leading New York, the government officials, had a priority for rail, transit, and public transportation, which is why we've had the transportation system that we have now. We have not perfect, but we have a train system that could get you 5 boroughs generally an hour, hour 15.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. There's some neighborhoods that are transit deserts that don't have trains and might only have buses, which run kind of scarce. But in New York, New York City, we prioritize public transportation, and we've created a rail system that was meant for working class people. And in New York, we have a flat rate. It's $2.75 to get you anywhere.
$2.90 now.
$2.90. God,
I know, right? Yeah.
I mean, I get the unlimited metro now, so I don't even.
Okay, facts.
But
no matter for you.
You see, so it's like, where it's a flat rate. Whereas in DC, where I was just last week,
I hate, bro.
You have to pay by distance.
Where
you have to swipe in when you check in and when you check out. So it's like, it's different ways. And whereas like some of the other cities, maybe LA, even Atlanta, right? They don't have that extensive rail system. Some people are trying to invest in light rail, which is a train that runs above ground.
Yeah.
But their priorities in the South and parts of the West Coast was the Bay's a little different too, but was roads. How can we invest in roads and highways? And the government funded in much of the country roads and highways, which is why other cities, there's a lot of bad traffic and a lot of people that drive, and that was just because it's a cultural thing, right? What people prioritized during the 19th and 20th centuries, and some people prioritize driving, some people prioritize public transportation, and it's like now we're seeing the effects. Obviously, when you think about pollution, you think about traffic jams and those type of things, you think about neighborhoods and especially how housing interfaces with this. Like
it's huge.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper when you live further, but if you don't have a car, you can't afford a car, you can't really live that far. So it's interesting to see how different places across the country are trying to solve the problem. Trying to make it better.
I think it affects how you live life as well, and just like how you view like your city type shit. Think about LA and places like that. If you're not taking public transport and it's so much more spread out and disconnected and needs cars and highways to get around, you live in a bit more of a bubble. You know what I'm saying? Like in New York, unless you don't ride the train and have a certain level of wealth where you can, or you just want to drive everywhere, but that comes with its own prices.
Yeah.
Drive everywhere, pay Ubers everywhere, have a personal driver, whatever it is. You'll see rich ass people on the train with a homeless person.
Exactly.
And it's extremely humbling. And also, you'll have that rich person, you'll have upper middle class, working class, maybe not too much money, all the way to homeless. And it's like
all on the train.
All on the train. It's a genuine mixed income world that you live in. And you kind of can't avoid the realities of the harshness of the city. And I feel like that just breeds a different culture in New York than you're going to see in LA and places like that.
Exactly.
And I think it's a bit humanizing as well, and kind of a sonder moment, as they say, to be able to see that. And like, you can't really just go about your life thinking it's all happy dandy because you see the reality of what's going on.
Exactly.
In LA, you can avoid that, bro. Houston, from what I'm hearing about how it's set up as well, you can avoid it. New York, you can't avoid shit unless you're rich as fuck.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
So, no, great perspective. And very great perspective. And it's like, I think about it all the time. And I think I've even asked you this. Like, do you see yourself living in New York long term, raising a family? Because then it's like, I just say sometime like, oh damn, I don't know if I could. I would want to bring my child or my infant on the train.
Yeah, not the
Those type
J
of
train.
things.
not on Broadway.
Yeah, I'm about to
Ain't
say
no
not
way, not on Broadway.
Bowery's a spot. Yeah, not
Ain't
a.
no way,
But
bro.
but it's like, you know, that perspective. Right now, everyone's gonna grow up the same, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
that perspective of just seeing like different concentrations of wealth, whereas one area could be very wealthy and you could travel 10, 20 minutes, see a different neighborhood. You could be on the train, people with different incomes. Like that perspective that you could get living in a city like New York, it's hard to be replicated.
It is.
So
yeah, and with public transport, what it does too, not just seeing the mixed income reality, it also gives people better access to the rest of the city.
Exactly.
So you can be deep wherever, and you can take a train to the Met and be able, and I think it's free if you are a New York resident, and you can experience some of the best art in the entire world. Like that opens the mind of somebody different than if you, I don't know, super far in Long Beach trying to get over to the Getty, which is like above Malibu, I believe, in LA. You can't just hop on a bus and do the same sort of thing, or hop on a train, or it's not as safe because it's not as used. You know what I mean? So like, it's not just that it's mixed income. If you do live in these different neighborhoods, you at least have that level of access to other parts of the city, which changes your perspective and gives you more than just the neighborhood you live in. Because often the problem with, tough neighborhoods is that if you're in there, that's the only view you have of the world. But if you're able to experience other things, that can change the neighborhood itself. So I think that's another big thing for sure.
For a fact. So what's like your favorite? You've been to a lot of cities.
Yeah.
New York City's your favorite American city. All right, what's second though?
Second favorite American city?
Yeah.
That's a great question, bro. Honestly, I like Philly a lot, which I feel like is New York light or like a sixth borough. I don't mean that it's the same. I like some people take that wrong, but like it's some of the vibes. It's a smaller version instead of 12 million here. Yeah. Metro area, it's like 2 million.
Okay.
There is a train. There are buses. It still has that northeastern vibe. It's very diverse. I think it's almost like 40% black type shit. It's got a lot of culture. All the great music artists that have come from there. It has a great sports culture. It has black-owned businesses, things of that nature. It is also walkable. Same way you can pull up in one spot of New York, walk around and find different bars, restaurants, clothing stores, whatever you can in Philly. Obviously, nowhere to the same level as New York, but it still has that sort of vibe to it. So in that sense, it's second favorite-ish. But if Chicago's location was where Philly's was, I would say Chicago's probably my second favorite, which I would say is even more like New York in the sense of the big city vibe. I think it's the third biggest in the country. I'd say it's pretty walkable. They do have a train system as well. So you still have that connection through public transport, but also so much culture going on in Chicago. You got Virgil from there, Kanye, Common, all these producers, etc. Derek, Chief Keef, all that. Big music festivals. The Bulls were there, Michael. You know what I mean? Like it has all that culture. So yeah, I mean, I like cities that are like New York, honestly, just in terms of that's the way I want to live life. But being rich in LA is fire as fuck too.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on income as well. And LA does have a lot of culture. They do have a lot of events. They have the music industry. They have sports. They have fashion as well. So there's also people who live like a bi-coastal life, New York and LA, which, if I get to that level, I could see something like that. But living just in LA sort of thing, or living in just one city, I wouldn't put LA in that category.
Okay.
But having access to LA, I do think if you're somebody who's in the culture and media and whatever, I think there's like value there.
Okay.
So yeah, New York 1. Chicago would be number 2 if it was where Philly is.
Okay.
But for me, I'd probably rather just be in Philly because of location. But I love Chicago too. DC's cool. I like DC.
DC's cool.
I don't know if I want to live there. It's a little bit of a smaller city, a little bit further. But I like the Northeast minus Boston.
Yeah.
So that's my area for sure.
What
about you?
I heard that Knicks fan.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, so this has always been on my list. I need to explore more cities, and I was able to go to Houston this summer. But I definitely want to get, more of the northeastern cities, and then definitely have to touch Chicago and the West Coast.
Yeah.
But for me, it's Atlanta, man.
Really?
Yeah, I got family out there. Shout out my cousin
Jordan. She from Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. Shout out ATL. I got family that moved down there over 10 years now. And bro, I just like it. It's a nice city where it's like there's a nice balance between living in the suburbs and then going downtown.
Yeah.
It's a city that has developed a lot over the last 10 to 15 years.
Heavy.
When you think about the political influence and how people came out in droves in Atlanta to deliver the last election with
Philly
Joe Biden.
too. It was Philly and Atlanta were the two cities, bro.
Exactly.
For sure. Yeah.
So I really rock with it, the history. And then, my cousin's out there. He's a photographer, videographer, so he's really doing his thing.
Nice too.
Yeah. Shout out my son Josh, J2 Sleazy. And then this summer when I went in June, like this was the first time I really drove like by myself because my family, with their cars and everything. So I really got to drive throughout Atlanta, and it was a pleasurable experience. I went to the Civil Rights Museum. Went thrift shopping in Atlanta. Dope, bro.
Really? Because they
Dope.
not. I don't want to say they don't know how to dress, but like,
I did. There goes this Lil Yachty thing. I remember he got some.
bro, dressing like you from the Bronx and then saying New York
He's
can't dress is
crazy.
the craziest.
Yeah, that
shit
was
ever.
crazy. That was
With the
ridiculous.
Timbs in the baggy, like, bro,
Yeah,
just stop.
he
just
bugged
stop.
out with that one. He
Heavy.
definitely bugged out with that one. But like, that's another thing too. Like, yeah, I don't want to say people don't know how to dress, but I'm gonna take it a different. Different angle.
God,
But I
whatever you
think
want, bro.
in New York, thrifting is so saturated, so you don't really be. I don't be
It'd
finding
be expensive
good
out here
stuff.
too.
Exactly.
It'd be bougie. I'm about like
Exactly.
Beacon's Closet, L Train Vintage.
That's what I'm saying.
That should get a little pricey.
Those are the main spots.
Yeah,
It's saturated. People always going to the spots. You can't find anything that you don't know. I went to Atlanta. Literally, like, I copped 3-4 things. I copped a ring, 2 pairs of shades.
It's like they'd have jerseys out there too.
Came back the next day, copped something again, like copped some pants. I'm like, yo, like, just there's a lot more options. So
yeah,
I really rock with the city. A lot of people from New York end up moving on there. So it's like you can still find dope historical, black spots, restaurants, but there's also a calm Caribbean presence as well. There's Rum Punch Sunday. So that's the city for me. I still need to explore a little bit more. I need to hit some of the bigger ones, but Atlanta for right now, and the music too. So big Future fan. So.
I mean, the run I feel like it quieted down in terms of new artists. But to have, I mean, after Gucci, T.I. and all that, you had Future, you had Thug, you had Gunna, you had Lil Baby, you had Rich Homie Quan, who was with Thug in the early. Exactly. That whole, and there's a million names after that.
That's what I'm saying. Just think.
Started cooking, bro. Lotto on the women's side, like Atlanta music.
Exactly. Just think about that. And it's a variety of different sounds. You got the Cardis,
Black too on the R&B shit. Summer Walker,
yes.
Nah, crazy,
and then you
crazy.
Outkast, Young Jeezy. So
it's if you go further back, for sure.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Atlanta's a hub of culture,
history,
bro.
Yeah, for sure.
And now it's huge in film.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All the studios open out there. Shout out even the show Atlanta.
Yeah,
that was a major moment too. I didn't even say the Migos.
You right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, Atlanta got it. But what they don't got, I know what they do have, and too much of it is bottles and bottle service and sections. And I'm hearing people just trying to get a lunch sandwich. Yeah, you need a section. And I talked about this on the last pod too. Talking about like nightlife and like what's going on in Atlanta, bro? Because I just want my chicken sandwich. I don't need to post up with sparklers and $400 reposado. I just want my sandwich, bro.
Yeah, it's
like, come on, dog.
Nightlife is definitely different. I think you definitely have to be
too.
Tapped in with people to find the right things. And even seeing that in Houston as well, like definitely a bottle,
same shit,
table, hookah, section culture. But I would say, and then it's also strip club culture as well. Which I think is overrated. I'm not gonna name any strip clubs, but unless you're going with a big group that's really out there throwing money, like I went into a strip club and everyone's watching the strippers.
I'm not trying to be around.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bro,
exactly.
I'm just not.
I just went for the experience, and it's like, oh, everyone's just watching the strip. I know one's throwing money. I'm like, oh,
mad weird. Yeah.
Like, what's going on? But I would say the strip club food, solid.
Everybody be saying that,
the
bro.
Strip club food.
I be hearing that.
I've had it twice. And it's so fun. It's just so funny because now in the era of Uber Eats, right? Like, you could dead Uber Eats from a strip club, like.
That might be how I do it. Shit.
Yeah, no cap. So
that's funny as hell.
That I would say for sure. The strip club wings in Atlanta is. I've went to multiple places now, and they've been good. They've been solid. It's been consistent. So
lemon pepper.
I like to do like a sriracha, something sweeter, and then like this is big back activities, but I would sprinkle the lemon pepper on top. You feel me? I would sprinkle the lemon pepper on top of like a sauce. So
dry or wet lemon pepper?
Dry. So if I'm a dry lemon pepper.
Okay. Jordan, what are you saying?
What?
Oh God.
Is that how it's supposed to be? It's supposed to be wet. It's gotta be wet. I don't know if y'all can hear her, but it's gotta be wet. Really? Yeah. But how wet though? Because sometimes like
like
a lot
it's
of
mad
sauce,
buttery. Like it's too
it's
buttery.
Supposed to be mad butter?
That's what Donald Glover opened.
Oh my God.
Oh shit. Interesting.
Some of this Vino.
Word. But you know what it is? If it's too wet, then I feel like it takes the seasoning off of it, and I just have like this puddle on the side.
And it smells like cheesy.
Nah, in Atlanta, maybe up here though, they don't know how to do wet lemon pepper. Yeah. Cause I'll be ordering wings once in a while. It's a nice little post late night food.
You be doing what?
Sometimes that's all they have. And I like lemon pepper's like my favorite shit. With like a
Really?
little garlic aioli sauce sort of thing.
Oh, so you do
Like
okay?
atomic
like
wings, you know what I'm saying?
lemon.
But
Okay.
we're gonna talk wings though. Upstate New York smoking everybody.
Oh, for sure.
Everybody.
For sure.
Buffalo is
I'm not
from
gonna lie.
Buffalo,
For
bro.
sure.
That shit is
For
different.
sure. You know,
Bone
I
in,
spent time. You feel me?
different,
I
bro.
spent time up there, so you already know. You
Yeah,
feel
come
me?
on, dog.
Shout out Wings Over, man. That was my spot.
Over?
There's a Wings Over in Long Island. It's
I
right
would say
outside
that's the closest
Queens.
one?
Yes,
Nah,
I
that shit-
need
that shit
to.
is different.
I need to go. I've always said it because there was one
That
time
shit is
my dad
crazy.
lives in Queens. Yeah, Wings Over is actually a different animal. I
Yeah.
haven't had any better wings.
Nah, I've never.
Anywhere.
No chain has come close.
Anywhere.
And their boneless are tender. Like they're
Yes.
straight up a chicken tender.
Yes.
But like a perfect chicken tender.
Exactly, bro.
It's unbelievable. It's not that circular, squishy. Because a bad boneless wing is one of the worst things out there.
Exactly.
This shit is a chicken
It's actually
tender,
chicken
bro.
breast. You feel me? Like
And
cut.
Seasoning, nah. that
Saved
shit
me
is
many nights when I was
crazy.
hungry. I know I spent that $20 to
That's
get the
a
Wings
big
Over.
fact. Even the
I
salad
spent-
is good with the nah, that
Exactly,
bro.
yeah.
Shout out Wings Over. They
Shout
had
out
one in
Wings Over,
Ithaca
you
too.
feel
So
me?
growing up, I had that.
Yeah. Okay.
Bro, different.
Yeah,
Different.
sure.
Oh my Lord, bro. Goddamn. But moving on, you know what I'm saying? You do a lot of things. I do a lot of things. One of our favorite words is motion. You know what I'm saying? So, and passion with $2
Passion. You
signs
feel
you
me?
heard.
Passion.
So yeah, bro, just want to have a conversation kind of about, starting your own thing, what's it like building from scratch, and yeah, just kind of handling that through everything that goes on in the world type shit. So
Yeah, and I think it's just so important to stay true to yourself and be consistent with that. And especially as a young adult, I did a pod in June early in the summer about black men growing during their 20s, and I feel like self-discovery is just so important within a lot of things, and you got to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You need to go, try different things. Like, I grew up in Caribbean household. I always ate steak well done. You feel me? Now it's like my steak's medium now. You feel me? I've elevated a little bit. Growth. And you just need to go experience and really find yourself. And once you find what that thing is, you run with it. Right. And it's authentic, and it's just like pointing at you. Like one of the posts that you've posted, and I remember this period too,
Oh, for real?
because we were both going through something.
yeah.
And it was like you spoke about wavy footy, and you was like, "Oh, I went through this. I still posted. I was
Oh yeah.
I was busy. I still found a way to post."
Yeah.
And it's like that consistency, that driving. Like you found your thing. You found your lane with the soccer and the content creation thing. You're not copying anyone else's motion. You took the time to discover who yourself. Figure out how you want to dress. Figure out where you want to spend your energy. And it's been beautiful seeing you taking it and run with it.
Thank you, bro.
You feel
I
me?
appreciate that.
Yeah, no, for real, bro. It's just inspiring. Like even Vino Friday, I was there when he was out the basement.
Bro, yo, come on, man. The
He was
girl is
out the
crazy.
basement.
I appreciate
and
you.
now we on Vino Talks, and you about to throw your fifth, sixth, and it's about to be a nighttime vibe. You feel me? You just dropped it.
Facts.
Dropped it. The
Just
flyer.
dropped the flyer, absolutely.
Just dropped the flyer. You feel me? 6 Vino Friday.
Come
you feel
on.
me?
Late night vibes, Friday, September 13th.
Feel
Very
me?
spooky.
Passion.
Absolutely.
So you see, it's like I think that's just so important. The self-discovery, and then being able to take an idea and really put it into the world.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing for me, like with, whether it's strategy for Black Lives, having that lane to build, given the opportunity to build, champion a program, like for the Black Father Circle that we did in January. Like I did it because, I seen a double murder in my neighborhood, and and when double murder, and like it was a father and son, you feel me, lost their lives in front of the rest of the family. And it's like I started thinking, and I seen a video from, I think they recorded in the studio, Express Yourself Black Man.
Yeah, I don't know if they still record it, but they used to.
Okay, yeah, but Express Yourself Black Man, right? Like,
shout out them, bro. Do amazing stuff.
Like I've shared that when I was really going through, I shared their posts almost every day. And it's like, literally during that time, I seen a post that said, the Black community would be so much better if we had like conflict resolution skills, literally right around the same time. And it's like, having that video, seeing what was happening in my neighborhood, and being able to respond in an organic way with something I already had going on, strategy for Black Lives. I think is just very important. But what comes first is a self-discovery.
Yeah.
Like, see how I talked about urban planning.
Yeah.
I had to discover what it was that really drove me. So
100%, bro. And I felt like self-discovery, honestly, bro, is kind of everything in life, period. Because you're never going to be happy trying to be somebody else, or trying to put on a front for social media, for the people in your life, or to please your parents, or whatever it is, like if you live in life for other people, that will factually and has always listened to any person who's been through it, who's older in their 40s plus whatever, it builds resentment. It's resentment towards the world. It's resentment towards your family. It might be resentment towards your spouse, children, wherever it is. Like you have to do that self-discovery and find out like what you genuinely want and have to be comfortable with the fact that you got to go for it too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is, you know? And we talk about, you know, building things from scratch, but you got to, if you're going to build from scratch, you better love this shit.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't kind of like it, kind of want it, whatever. And like I do understand too, like it is very good to try different things. Yeah. The first thing might not be the thing. You know, you might open 2 types of restaurants before. The Mexican Korean fusion is the one that pops off crazy, goes viral, and that's the one that gets you crazy bread. Like, but at the end of the day, bro, you got to find out what you genuinely want to do, because it's how else you gonna get through it.
Exactly.
You know, and if we're talking building from scratch, I said this on one of our pods recently, talking about like the 6-year anniversary of Wavy.
Yep.
It's like, bro, it's the emotional stress, it's the time stress, it's the physical stress of how much you're moving around, it's the financial stress of things being out of pocket,
the risk,
no side of when it's gonna come in return.
Yeah,
the risk of it, the fact that you are the motion, period. You're not doing it for another platform, for another publication. You have to get your own media credential. Like, from scratch shit, you better love that, bro. Because otherwise, it's just not going to happen for you. And then the effort required to build from scratch, from zero. 1, from the amount of consistency it takes to grow it. But then 2, the confidence that you have to have that when you show people the 0 followers, you know what it's going to get to. And just like the not giving a fuck what people like, bro. From scratch, I'm telling you right now, is different than doing it for another brand, for another job. And I'm saying this as somebody who, I work at an amazing company. I know what it's like to be, you know, in a corporate environment, and it's not what I own versus what I own in building from scratch. And I'm telling you right now, it is 2 different things. It's a different mentality. It's a different experience. And respectfully, if you haven't done one or the other, like you kind of can't talk about it. Yeah. It's a different mindset. You know what I mean? It's sometimes kind of like when we try to tell athletes certain things, like, dog, you can't imagine the sacrifices I put in to get to the league. Yeah. So you can't, you know what I mean? It's like certain things you can't say. That's why I feel with building something from scratch. And when you get it to a certain level, not just from scratch to do like whatever, but from scratch to be like, nah, meeting one of the best players ever. You know what I mean? Like at one point, it's just a different level, bro. Exactly. And that shit takes a different level of effort. So
it does. No, it does, bro. For sure.
That's big facts. Yeah, but no, through that though, is definitely very important, and part of what comes with it, hopefully for you, is building strong relationships, strong friendships, strong networks. So what has you think, you know, building this brought to you in terms of strategy for Black Lives,
Yeah, I think it's definitely built long-term relationships with one of the people that's within the organization, like some of my closest people. Through this organization, we struggled, we figured out ways to execute. You know, these are people that's, you know, gonna be at my wedding, you feel me? Like, you see? Like, for sure. Just building it organically from beginning to end, everyone that's been a part of it. But it also puts a certain level of responsibility now, because you have certain things attached to your identity, right? And through that, you know, people look to you for certain things, right?
Facts. So it's like, yeah, you can't stop now.
Strategy for Black Lives, like, and it's a burden that you got to carry. You know, if you've done advocacy in the past and you've been doing things, like, people want to see you step up when it's time to step up. So, all in all, I think building things organically, I think it's always good, because it's always about the journey, right? Always about the journey and the people that you're building with. But it also, there's a burden that accompanies doing work like this, right? It becomes a part of your identity and who you are and what people associate you with. Yeah. And you got to be able to step up to the plate, for sure.
Yeah. So, do you ever feel in terms of that sometimes people see, not just you, but like in general, see a person as what they do more than who they are, when it is that kind of organic thing that like you're attached to? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how sometimes when you see an athlete, you don't respect, like, that's actually a human being who has to like wake up, they're tired in the morning, I gotta go to training, I gotta stretch for 2 hours before I get on the pit. Like, that's a human being, bro. He got a girl home, wife and kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. Does that ever affect you? Do you think people have ever come up to you on some like who you are more than, or not who you are, what you do more than who you are type of vibe?
To an extent, and that depends on how much they really know me. Yeah. I think definitely less than athletes, for sure. But I think,
no, that shit's crazy. Anything like pop culture is just like,
I think and it hasn't been too much, but I think there is a general expectation sometimes from people in a community. If you build a community and you don't post or you don't do something for how many months, it's like, yo, bro, what's going on? You feel me? And granted, I'm still human. Like, you feel me? I have things are not perfect all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might need a break. Sometimes I need to disconnect. But like, it's the responsibility. So sometimes it's like, and I don't even think it's coming from a bad place. Like,
Yeah.
to be like, yo, bro, you got anything going on when it comes to this or the election or like,
Yeah.
it's a responsibility that I put on myself. And it's like, if I'm going to be that go-to person for a certain thing, if it's advocacy, political awareness, those things, you know,
Yeah.
it's something that I can't be mad at. So it does happen sometimes. People would
Mhm.
like come up to me like, yo, y'all doing anything? Or,
Yeah.
yo, bro, like what's next? And it's good to have people looking for you, which you'll
Yeah.
deliver. So
Okay.
it
And
happens
you
all
haven't
the
had
time.
experience of people feeling like they're using you type vibe?
Nah.
Not really? That's good.
Nah.
That's good.
Nah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think? Do you,
Yeah, I mean,
especially in the media space too, you
Yeah.
got a pod.
because the thing about it too is like obviously to grow the podcast and Wavy Footy and all that, like, well, Wavy Footy, the one thing I love about it is that it doesn't always have to be our face.
Mhm.
Versus Five Aside Media is mostly our face.
Mhm.
And so it's like you're just constantly perceived, and the amount that you're perceived therefore kind of attaches you to like seeing this person as a podcaster or this commentator, whatever, and that kind of builds its own thing. You know what I mean? I feel like it's just interesting because now I do 3 main things I'd say outside of Accenture. So, you know, Vino, Vriday, Five Aside, and Wavy Footy, so the soccer stuff. So like, yeah, the party, social event, the soccer media things, and then film photography.
Yeah.
So it's
parties,
like,
yeah.
however you met me, I feel like sometimes they see me as that instead of like the whole
Mhm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's hard to like connect with people on like just me shit rather than one of those 3 major things I got going on. Yeah, so I don't know, it's interesting, especially just like with the podcast, especially because it's just so much like perception of you. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
even if you only know me through Vino and you look at me as like a quote unquote party promoter, and I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm promoting my own curated event, but it's like I just feel like I'm being perceived 24/7 in that kind of aspect. And not that it bothers me necessarily, but I definitely feel like I know everybody's not just looking at me as Gabe. You know, and it's hard to. That's why, you know, shout out people like you that I know way back that don't attach me just to like the shit I do. So
No, for a fact.
yeah.
For a fact.
Word. But I think it's underrated that like a lot of people, like aside from athletes, actors, musicians, there are people that you're just looking at as the thing they do and you don't like respect them as a person. Because now, you know, with social media, there's just a lot of hate, especially if you're given any sort of opinion. Sports communities are fucking insane.
Yeah.
Soccer is the most passionate sport.
I read them comments, man.
Bro, it be the most regular shit.
I read them
And
comments.
it's racism. I'm like, dog. Like, you're this type of like, you know what I mean? Or just like, you don't know. It's like, bro, like, it's okay. We can disagree, but like, damn. And you would never talk like that to my face.
Exactly.
It's crazy. Music be like that too.
Yeah.
We just had the Drake Kendrick beef. There's some comments. I'm like, all right, bro, relax. Like, it's an opinion. Like, it's not
that serious,
bro.
Not that serious at all.
Yeah, I think that there is that level of you need to humanize content creators even because the way, and then
For sure.
especially for instance, women in the sports space, some of the comments they get, and they be doing a great job. I'm like, damn, y'all are that sexist? She can't just analyze a game on some really smart shit. You still have some sexist shit to say.
Crazy.
Or racist shit to say if it's, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, bro, that's something that I've kind of dealt with, but, you know, we pushed through it. At the end of the day, some random person in Argentina being racist online, I'm going to be all right, bro.
Yeah.
It's part of trailblazing, so.
That was a good piece together y'all put together. I remember the video you watched.
About Argentina? Yeah, and we talked about it again because they just did the shit with France.
Yeah.
How you win the South American Championship and you talking about Africans in France. Disrespecting. Like, what? You that racist? You just won an amazing trophy and you talking about Africans in France. That's what popped in your head? That shit is crazy, bro. But yeah, I guess through this, has your relationship with your ego changed at all? Because I feel like that's a very interesting thing to talk about as men and in, you know, the mid to late 20s kind of vibe and the balance of confidence and self-belief with also not... See, this is the other thing, right? The same way people can look at you as what you do, you can look at yourself as what you do.
Yeah.
And you can make yourself this persona and character that you're not when you really should just be yourself at your core. So is that something that's ever affected you at all through everything that's got going on? Which sometimes isn't even about career too. It could be about girl, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, so first off, this is a great question. Shout out to you for this.
No, I appreciate you.
So it's interesting because especially as men, I feel like we teeter on the spectrum of like being overly confident. We're like we're bigging ourselves up more than other people are bigging us up, or
facts.
Our light, we're using our light to dim other people. It gets toxic to throw that word out there. But we're also teetering on the spectrum where like a lot of us, like I said, haven't gone through that self-discovery and haven't, we or have like social anxiety, aren't as confident in ourselves, looking ourselves in the mirror. And the reason why ego is such an interesting concept, as I really started to think about it, right? Like ego is, you can't have an ego if you don't have the resume to back it up, right? You can't have an ego if you don't have the numbers. You feel me? Right? A lot of people say, I'm standing on business, but it's like you gotta have something to stand on. You feel me? You gotta handle business before you stand on business.
Yeah.
And I think finding the right balance is having that right amount of ego. You feel me? Like people can't come at the numbers, you feel me? And obviously you could be humble about it, the way you go about it. But you know that if you are producing at a certain level, that you should be able to, tout what you do and obviously do it in a respectful way. You don't have to belittle anyone. But I think it's definitely part of the confidence and understanding who you are as a person, to know what your ego is, right? Obviously. And then it's like also just be very self-aware. Like you could be humbled at any point. At any point. And it's
point.
There's always room for improvement. I know we both Aquarius, so we're always
come on, big gang. You know the vibes.
We're always trying to be better, trying to outdo the things that we did before. So it's like there's always room for improvement as well. But I think my ego specifically, when it comes in terms of me, I think it's just being more assured of who I am.
Yeah.
And that's all that it is, right? And if my numbers are there, you feel me? I could talk on that. You feel me? And obviously I'm gonna do it in a humble way. But if the numbers are there and I produce and other people are recognizing this too, it's easy to talk about.
Facts.
And there's things where I haven't succeeded in, and I know being self-aware, it's like, all right, I could improve in these areas. So I think it's all about being self-aware and truly knowing yourself and getting in tune to where you are.
Yeah.
So.
No, 100%, bro. It's hard because like, yeah, bro, sometimes I be feeling mad underrated and I want to shout my shit, but at the same time, why do I care what people think? / like so many good things are happening. And sometimes too, like in the journey, is like you just also have to be appreciative of what you're doing now and where you've come from, and not be worried about like, I don't know, that perception of yourself sort of thing. Because at the end of the day, it is going to be what it is. Like you share what you got to share, but yeah, you don't have to. I don't know. It's kind of tough sometimes, bro. I ain't going to lie. Like, because you want, like, I don't know, and you want to share, but you don't want to big yourself up too much. And you don't want to sound arrogant, but like confidence and arrogance are two different things.
Yeah.
Like if you're just proud of what you did and you did some dope shit, is that arrogance? No, I feel like arrogance is more when you like putting someone else down and say, fuck, y'all niggas down, y'all niggas down. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, so it's just such an interesting balance. Then, we do live on social media, and then it's like, okay, you're being perceived. And it's the perception of you. And then different people know you in different ways. So they take it differently. And they know you in a different capacity and for a different thing. And so, yeah, something I kind of struggle with at times is like how to say what I want to say without coming across in like a negative light. You know what I mean? And also wanting people to just also believe in themselves the way I believe in myself. Not to say that like, fuck y'all niggas, I'm better than that. It's just more like, no, like I really believe my shit. Like I know it's going to pop. So I want y'all to believe your shit. Exactly. But people could also take it as that's arrogant. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It'd be tough sometimes.
And it's like I said, it's all about balance. But also it's like if you have real people in your corner that know you and support you, you feel me? Like, and it's also people being secure in themselves, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's true too.
If you bigging up yourself, like, and they smile,
take it
like,
negatively.
well, if they're happy for you, you want them to be happy for you. You feel me? Yeah, like those are the people that, I know Gabe, he's just chatting, but I'm happy for him because he come from a place where like we know where he came from. Right? Whereas other people might not take that the right way, but it's like, why do you feel that way?
That's true. That's what I say too.
Like he ain't talk about you. He ain't saying you a bum ass nigga. And he said I'm hype about my shit. You feel me?
Yeah, that's fact.
So it's like it's also just understanding where people are in their lives. You feel me? And it's like not everyone's gonna be in a space where they could receive that and be happy for you.
That's real, bro.
So it's not always about you, right? So you should know when you talking your shit, you're making sure that you're balanced and you're humble and you're not taking anyone down.
Yeah.
But if people are, feel away from you talking, that's more reflection on them, and they need to figure things out.
Now that's the other thing. You also can't be overly worried about what other people think, because like in the same way that we can be worried about what people think, so we want to like big ourselves up. If you also just want to like say how proud you are of yourself, it doesn't make sense to then look at the world like, but but they could take this as arrogant. It's like, bro, like you actually are just sharing. You know what I mean? So it's like a two ways of not trying to worry about what other people think. Like, don't try to big yourself up so much because you just want to show the world, like, bro, these niggas don't give a fuck about you. Why are you trying to prove yourself to them? But at the same time, if you do want to big yourself up, don't worry about what people think. Like, it is inspiration. Like, you know what I mean? At least for me, when I see people doing well, I love that shit.
For a fact.
You know what I'm saying? I met Blast Manager, for instance, and he co-owns the label with him, Eagle. I'm like, oh, am I supposed to hate on that? You know, that's super inspiring. Like, let me get him at Vino type shit. Like, you know what I mean? So, no, 100%. I think another thing with Eagle that's interesting too, as both of us being people who do a lot for people in our lives, is about like giving and receiving in the relationship with that. And one thing I realized as somebody who I feel like in general, I kind of tend to give more than I receive. There's two kind of key things from that. One, you have to give without expecting to receive.
Yep.
And you have to give out of love. And you have to, I forgot what Code of the Friend said, but I think it said, giving in this world is a blind gesture. And you have to be comfortable with that. Because otherwise, you're being transactional.
Exactly.
If when I give to you, I'm expecting the same amount back, whether that's a financial thing or favor for favor. That's a business relationship, which in business is cool. That's how you build brand. That's how you secure a deal. That's how you do real estate, whatever it is. But like in your personal relationships and the people you're building with at a deeper level, it can't be tit for tat. It can't be I did this for you, I did that. You also might have more capacity to give. Like I feel like I have more capacity to give than most of the people in my life. And so there's that. But at the same time, there is the other side of that is like there is a certain level of balance and certain line that can't be crossed.
Yeah.
You can't only be given and they do nothing. Like that don't even mean that it's necessarily beef, but at one point, if I invite you to 25 Vino Vridays, offering you guest lists and free drinks, and you pull up to nothing, and there's someone who's been buying tickets, hard sales, and their own drinks the whole time, supporting the event since day one, how am I giving my energy to this person who doesn't give a fuck versus the actual day one supporter? At one point, it's disrespectful to the people that actually support you. Yeah. So it don't even have to be beef if y'all not, if they're not reciprocating it to some level. Yeah. But at some point, it's like you also have to respect yourself and respect your energy and respect the people that are actually supporting you, actually giving you their time and actually, really being there for you. Because it's like when a shorty be like, I'm not one of your homeboys. You know what I do for you? No, but on some real shit. Yeah. Like, she does way more for you than your random acquaintance. Yeah. How you treating her like that, bro?
It's a fact.
Like, there is that certain balance. So it's like, give without expecting to receive, but at the same time, if it's skewed too much, someone's taking advantage of you. Exactly. And it don't even have to be beef, but it's more like, I'm going to just
know what it is.
Put this giving energy towards those people over there that I know genuinely care. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So I feel like within ego and giving, that's a whole nother kind of sort of thing too.
I think you said it at the end, reciprocity, knowing to reciprocate. Mm-hmm. And I say you do, like, you are a giver. Like me knowing you for
I appreciate that, bro.
You are a giver.
Now you are too, though. I see you be out. I know you be running around to mad events to support everybody. I feel you on that. So
it's like I definitely do resonate with that. But one thing, like, and I've been saying this, like, just applying it to my personal life. One thing I've just noticed is like, some people just grow and develop at different paces, and some people just gonna have to figure that out at some point in time. And like, you may have figured it out earlier than them, and like they shouldn't feel slighted for you if you change how you behave and change how you move. Yeah. But that's why, like, I don't take on that animosity or anger or anything like that, because it's like they just might not be in a place yet. You feel me? Yeah. And it's okay, and I can still change how I move to you, whatever. But it's like, that's one thing that I've learned over the years. Like, some people just develop and grow at different paces. 100%. And then hopefully in the future you could see that, Gabe, Jerrell was reciprocating this amount, giving this much, and like you could give more energy to that going forward. But it's like, I think it's knowing your worth, meeting people where they're at, and part of meeting people where they're at is like, oh, if I'm showing you all this love and I'm not getting it back, it's not that I hate you or anything. I just can't give you that energy anymore. Yeah. So
no, 100%.
No, for sure.
Yeah. And I think of it too, it's just like, at the end of the day, we all have limited bandwidth. Yeah. One of our limited bandwidth is the love and energy and time we give. If you have these amazing people in your life and this person over here is just giving you absolutely nothing, and they actually don't care about what you're doing or what you got going on, why would you not bring that to the people over here who actually really fuck with you?
Exactly.
So take it even out of yourself and think about the people out there that support you and what they deserve. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't have no beef, but it's like, bro, these are my date. Like, they really support me. So I'm gonna take this 25 minutes or this connection I got and put it over here type thing. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Nah, Vino was smooth,
It was good, right?
Yeah. Nah,
Jordan, you like the wine?
I do.
Okay.
Nah, great
Fire.
rap, bro. I appreciate you.
It's lit. Bro.
This was vibey. I'm feeling good, feeling nice.
Definitely feeling good.
It was smooth.
I had to
You
get my
feel me?
cup. I was like,
Hey, you feel me? It was smooth. It was smooth. Nah, for sure. Nah, I know
Red's a vibe, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Let's get into that shit. Red is underrated.
Very underrated.
For our age group, for our demographic, for the under 30.
Very underrated.
Yo, sip some Red. Y'all got to get over the rosé and the orange and the sparkling. Get you a nice Red. You be feeling good.
I think
bro.
it's definitely an acquired taste, and it takes even for me like
it's the most like wine tasting wine.
It took
type shit.
It took some time, but I think everyone just needs to find what they like. Cause I know there's a Red out there that someone's gonna enjoy. Like
no, absolutely.
One of the first Reds that I really started liking because it took me some time.
Yeah,
I went to this French steakhouse right by my job. It was like a Burrell. It's
Bordeaux.
Called no, it's Burrell de. Oh my gosh, I don't want people.
Barolo
Burrell de
is
Cotes.
Italian.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Bar. Yeah, I'm gonna get the name for you.
No, you straight, bro. I don't know.
Or
hey, I ain't know Somalia.
Yeah.
It's calm.
So and it was It reminds me of this. I'm feeling a little spice in this too. I probably got the end of the bottle, but like, I like a red that goes down smooth, not too sweet, but it's tolerable. And
Definitely.
One thing that someone had taught me for sure is just like you drink the whites with the chicken and fish.
Yeah.
And then if you go red with the red meat or the steak, and it's like those flavors pairs well together. So it's like expand your palate, and some's not for everything, but no. Red is definitely slept on. I'm glad that I've been getting. I just found another bottle that I'm rocking with. So you feel me? Like I've been trying to get, especially after watching that movie too.
Yeah, of course, baby. Check it out.
So
Netflix.
I definitely I've been taking notes. Like every time I find a red that I actually like, get the name. Let me see where it's from. Like, actually understand the thought behind it. So red is fire for sure.
And one other thing about wine. So red underrated for our demographic. I gotta get that out there. Another thing, and this is y'all placebo meme culture TV show shit, is that wine makes you sleepy. Wine don't make you sleepy, bro. Y'all made that shit up. Yeah, that shit is not facts. I seen this guy.
I've got turned. You're right.
Yo, Lovejoy's Volume 4 day party, because they had the wine happy hour the whole time. Shout out Lovejoy's, one of the nicest spots in Bushwick. And you got the full bottle, right?
Yeah.
You was turned up in that joint. What you talking?
I was turned off.
That shit don't make you sleepy, bro. Now, if you only drink it in wine night, stay inside, watch the movie
dinner,
with the girls
like,
vibe.
come on.
Yes, you sleep because you
know
because
you're
vibe,
tired.
bro.
Exactly.
In Europe, they drinking that shit in the clubs. Jay-Z made Ace of Spades the littest rapper ever. That shit is wine in the club. Like, it's the scenario. It's not the wine. Y'all are not getting, there's no tryptophan that's in the fucking Thanksgiving turkey and wine. Y'all made that shit up. That shit's not real.
For sure.
And that's why I see the opportunity with Vino Vriday is activating wine in U.S. nightclub spaces. There's actually a guy being interviewed by Earn Your Leisure in the studio over there.
Oh, wow.
Talking about that, coming from like the spirits business into kind of like more the wine vibe, and seeing the opportunity to like turn it up in nightlife. And I said, oh, gee, I might have to talk to you because he gets it. Huge opportunity there. So yeah, wine don't make you sleepy. I feel like you agree.
Nah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I saw it first.
You see me vibey off of wine.
I'm vibey every time I have wine.
Exactly. So
facts, bro.
Fact.
Now, but speaking of wine, speaking of nightlife and all that, I guess what are your thoughts as someone from Brooklyn and see what Brooklyn's become in terms of nightlife? Because I feel like it's like the place to be.
Growing. And,
crazy.
Shout out to Flatbush too, because now we're having venues and able to have.
Bro, y'all are part of it now. Yeah, genuinely.
Exactly. We do our birthday vibe in Flatbush too.
We do 2 Vinos there. Strategy for Black Lives, like.
So nah, it's definitely grown. And granted, I came back to New York City at a time where it was growing, so I really don't know what it was before. But I truly do enjoy that I don't have to. Granted, it's trash. Well, I enjoy that I don't have to go to Manhattan to find a vibe.
But the public transport can
that's what I was about to say.
It can still be crazy.
It's trash that in order to go to Williamsburg or Bushwick, I got to go to Manhattan to come back to
you in
Brooklyn.
Flatbush still, yeah.
Yes, facts. It is the most, it's still an hour to get there. That is the most mind-boggling thing. But good thing is that we got venues, different types of venue. One thing that I care about as well, and I see what you're doing with Vriday as well, making sure people get different vibes in different spaces.
Mhm.
I don't like. Granted, I like going to the same spot, not frequently, but I like every week, every couple weeks,
Yeah.
hitting a new spot, experiencing something different, and getting a new vibe. And I think Brooklyn, we got the venues. That's what it is. Like
All of them.
Williamsburg, which we started getting the venues. Starting to get into bars where you could pregame at, you could take a calm drink before
Yep.
and then
Facts.
head out. So it's growing. I see why a lot of people like moving. I'm glad that I
Yeah.
was able to poach you from Harlem, my boy. I appreciate
Bro,
you for
definitely.
coming.
Shout out Harlem though. Harlem's mad cool.
For sure.
Beautiful area. I feel like gentrified a bit slower than Brooklyn.
Mhm.
And at a pace where I feel like I see black wealth in Harlem.
Yeah.
Like I feel like with gentrification, I don't see a lack of the community that used to be there since the 20s type shit.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's more white people in Harlem type shit,
Mhm.
but also they could be coming from Colombia
Yeah.
and whatnot, which has already been white.
Mhm.
So I feel like they were able to have the money go up and the prices go up, but still keep it a relatively high level of black community. And I feel
Mhm.
like being in Harlem, I see less. I am a transplant, even
Mhm.
though I came here growing up type shit. I feel like I see much less transplants in Harlem than Brooklyn, bro.
Mhm.
Like completely.
Yeah, for
So I
sure.
feel like I'm more around actually more New Yorkers in Harlem. My barber's still there,
Yeah.
actually further up on like 140. So I still be in Harlem all the time. So Harlem's cool. It's a great vibe. Definitely an older crowd in terms
Yeah.
of nightlife. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're fresh out of college or you're in your first few years out of college, it's not really the place to be in that sense.
Mhm.
It's a bit of a calmer vibe, or you're gonna hear the older R&B type thing, but it still got dope venues, dope brunches, amazing food.
They be getting
It's
lit.
bro, and it's still
Still.
within the grid of Manhattan, so you
Yeah.
can get to the other parts of Manhattan mad fast.
Yep.
A 2-3 train there, the AC, the B, and all that. So, I mean, shout out Harlem, bro. I had a great time.
Shout out Harlem for sure. Shout out Harlem for
Word.
sure. You know, it's still. I think the black concentration has moved over to Brooklyn, but I still think Harlem's the Mecca. That's what it was called growing
I
up.
know,
The
bro.
Black Mecca.
Apollo's
so.
still there. You know what I'm saying?
for
Type shit. Now, but speaking of that too, one thing with Vino Vriday has been I've been having all types of times of the event. So I've had, first one was that's some real grassroots shit, bro. We in the lobby,
Mhm.
to upstairs. It's Rose's birthday. There's no time. It's just fucking 8 until whenever. You got that. It's like a kickback at home type shit. Then you got the 8 to midnight, and then
Mhm.
you got multiple day parties, and now we have 11 to 3:30 a.m. When is your favorite time to be out? Is it a Saturday day party? Is it a Sunday day party? Is it a Friday night, a Saturday night? Is it the super late night? You out till 4, then you get the pizza after. Like, out of all the nightlife experiences, what is your type of thing? Because New York really has it all. Brooklyn shit alone has it all.
Yeah.
So you can, whatever you like, you can find. Some people like the Thursday, and they have the short workday Friday, and they just chill the whole weekend. So it's a lot of options type shit.
So I'll start over and say what I don't like. I'm not a Sunday person.
Bro, I am not a Sunday person.
I am not a
Yo,
Sunday
quit the
person.
Sunday day parties.
Nah,
What's
that
the
shit's a dub.
point? Niggas
That
gotta work
shit is a
tomorrow,
dub.
bro.
That shit's a dub.
I hate that
One,
shit.
like I said, I'm still a football fan. So, half of the year, more
That
than half
too,
of the
bro.
year, I'm trying to just relax, watch football.
Facts.
But nah, it's just that's the day to reset. You feel me? Calm, clean the crib, get a good meal in. Feel me?
Yeah.
Like day before work. Like I'm not trying to be out on a Sunday, so I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I would say my top 2 favorite is day party Saturday and a late night Saturday.
Okay. Put them together, you got a good day.
Yes. So exactly, that's why.
Yeah.
I
facts.
like Saturday energy, wake up, quick gym session, get your mind right or something calm.
Yup. Facts. Yeah.
Then you get to go out and you experience different vibes. Out in the sunlight, I like the sun, you feel me?
Okay. Facts.
Out in the sunlight. And then, you feel me, you get, if you do a brunch or you do something, there's a waiting period where you could go eat, recalibrate,
nap, whatever.
head back out late night.
Yeah.
And then, you feel me, I still like, the late night pizza, empanadas,
Yeah.
sandwiches, chopped cheeses. And then you got your Sunday to rest.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I really rock with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I feel like that's been the days where I could spend a whole Saturday out and get multiple vibes, get a good meal in between, and then start it up again right after.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite type of.
Yeah. If I'm gonna combine 2 vibes, I feel you. But if I were to pick, for instance, Saturday day party versus Saturday night versus Friday night, I like Friday night the most.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's like the big release of the tension of the week sort of thing. Because if you had a good week, it's fine because it's like, I'm just in a great ass mood. Everything's going well. We celebrating. If you didn't have a good week, it's like, all right, let me just like disconnect for a while and like live in the moment sort of thing, kind of clear your mind vibe. And then the fact that if you do need to really rest Saturday, you also have Sunday to rest or Sunday to then be the productive day. And I like the further distance from Monday for the average person who works 9 to 5. I'm about to leave this life and be on my full-time creative shit, so I have a little more flexibility. But still, it's a little, on the average person, it's that disconnect from the Monday time. And you it's that, what's that meme? Close, slam, laptop shut.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? It's that kind of vibe, like, let me the fuck out of this shit.
Yeah.
So I think if I had to pick one individual vibe, it is that Friday night.
I get that.
But if I put two together, a great Saturday with the brunch into that, or the day party rooftop into the nightlife, that's like the full experience sort of thing.
Nah, and I get that. Cause it's like sometimes now I'm trying to think like, what does it feel weirder? Like, does it feel weirder to not go out on a Friday night or on a Saturday night?
Weirder?
Cause like sometimes like I don't know, I'm trying to trace back, but sometimes like it would be Saturday night and I'll be like, yo, I should be out right now. I don't know why. Like sometimes on a Friday night I might do like drinks after or a nice dinner. That's how I like treating myself after a long work week.
Okay, that's fair too.
A nice dinner, drinks, you feel me? Chill, have something more intimate.
Yeah.
And then Saturday go all out. But it's like sometimes it's just like I realize like if it's a Saturday night and I'm not outside and I'm on my laptop, like what? I'm like, nah, I should be outside right now. You feel me?
That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Like being inside on a Saturday night ain't a little crazy. Like it's understandable on a Friday because you tired from work.
I don't know, bro. I feel like Fridays be the same shit. It's like, bro, it's the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, my fault. I feel like it's the same. I feel like I don't know if I can pick one to be the other. I do understand some people want to do the decompress before the turn up. But I feel like that, because a big party could be either.
You're right.
Right? Like, think about festivals. That's when you intro the festival.
You're right.
That's when the new album just came out.
You're right.
It's like the freshest energy. It's the most raw kind of like getting it out vibe. So I feel like they're pretty similar in terms of what the FOMO can be. And a big party could be either day type shit. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I feel like you should be able to have a good time whenever.
Either way.
You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be a while.
Sundays is not my day, though. Nah,
Sundays is a dub. I'm not going to, I'm borderline upset if I'm out on a Sunday.
Nah, low key, bro. I did this little picnic thing. It was calm, whatever. Then went to someone's crib after, like 10 of us. And it got to like 11. I'm like, dog, I have an 8 a.m. meeting tomorrow. You know what I mean? I'm like, why are we here? Like, and I had a great time, but it's like, damn.
Still, like, even like the calmer stuff, it's like,
word.
Damn, this is like, damn, why am I out on this Sunday?
You know what I'm saying? Like it just kind of restarts. Yeah. But before we get out of here, bro, one big thing about Vino Vriday, Vino Conversations, Vino overall is my love for new age R&B, which I know is something that you also share. So there's any new age R&B artists that you want to shout out? As I always kind of mention, I feel like R&B in terms of events, specifically when you go to that type of party, the music you expect to hear is old, which no other genre you'd really do, right? If you go into a party where you hear like it's gonna be rap bangers, you expecting, you know, the new Don Toliver song with Charlie Wilson and Cash Cobain, and you expecting Cash Cobain, and you expecting Lotto, and you expecting Sexy Red. If you go to an R&B party, some people's brains is 2007 and backward.
That's true.
So that's part of why I started Vino Vriday. Is like, how come I can't hear the... Bro, I haven't heard the new Party Next Door album outside besides my event.
That's kind of crazy.
And that shit was fire. And
that's
for certain, really has a rhythm to it too.
And it has
I don't
a vibe
hear it
to
nowhere.
It has
Bryson's
a vibe
album,
to it.
what you hear outside besides whatever
Child,
she wants.
Yes,
And Child, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
How is that not? You know what I'm saying? So I'm always trying to push that. So I know we listen to a lot of the same music, but any artists that you want to kind of shout out in that vibe?
Shout out, you know, Fabo. That's been my guy.
Crazy.
Shout out my boy Fabo. We should be dropping something soon. A lot of I got from you.
Hey man, that's what I do.
So I know you put me on to Ryan Trey. Still rock with him. I seen him at Broccoli City. Smooth.
Yeah.
And then the UK R&B. Nipa, that's how you pronounce it?
Nipa, I think.
Nipa, yeah.
Crazy.
Solid. Now his project, and I've put in a lot of people on him all for you. So it's like those are some people that's been in my rotation like as of late. Yeah, it was
fire, bro.
Yeah, shout out Fabo. That's
Fabo, and he been around for a minute too.
Been around for a minute, and it's like you think about the balance because he has a project called Soulquarius, inspired by Soulquarians, D'Angelo, that group.
Yeah,
and it has like some of that older R&B vibe, and then he tries something new. You feel me? Different beats, different sounds. So it's like I rock with him. Definitely underrated. But the UK R&B scene, you feel me?
It's tough.
It's very tough.
Yeah, bro. Couple artists I always like to shout out is one being Chico Russ out of Montreal, Canada. He's really bringing back like the R&B bounce, as they call it, which is
Okay.
some of that older R&B bouncy, dancey Omarion vibe, but in a modern twist to it.
Okay.
So I feel like every time he drops it, it's funny. He be dropping the song right before I drop a Vino, and so the flyer promo, I put that because it's like that like melodic R&B dancey vibe that like fits the Vino, but it's not too overly calm like some of the other R&B. So shout out Chico Russ. He's a mad young artist. He might be like 21 type thing.
Okay.
So very young. He's got a very bright future. Kind of reminds me of like the early Chris Brown days. Not saying he's that level of talent, but kind of the vibes. Like you can tell he looks mad young, sort of thing too. And he just dropped On You, which has like a little bit of a dancehall beat to it on the radar. So that was a really cool performance. Then Isaiah Falls is a fire artist, a little bit more experienced, a little bit older, but I think his album Drugs and Lullabies to me is probably one of my favorite of the year type shit of any genre.
Smooth.
Yeah, he has some of the older school vibes in it as well, but just like all different types of production. He can do a lot with the voice, from his higher pitch to like putting on the kind of synthesizer to bring that low tone, kind of like Drake on Liability kind of vibe.
Okay.
Great writing. It's got a story to it. The skits is cool. He's got a cool vibe to him. So yeah, those are two artists in terms of like new age R&B that's not Bryson, Party, Summer, SZA that you already know, that I feel like, especially this year in 2023, are really starting to kind of build their spot. So yeah, for sure, bro.
Download that Vino Vriday
listen,
playlist.
Vino
You gotta get on
Vriday,
Apple Music.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta get it on Apple Music.
Don't get me started, because I'll talk for an hour about how Spotify is better than Apple
Nah,
Music,
that's not the point. I'm just saying, get the
Okay.
playlist on Apple Music. That's it.
Okay,
Just get
I got
the
you.
playlist on Apple Music.
I don't even know how to. Don't I have to have an account?
Yeah, make one.
That,
you
bro.
got to.
Yo, if Apple want to sponsor me, shit, that's another conversation.
Respect.
You
You
know
can
what
make
I'm
that
saying?
happen.
But yeah, shit, if you want to hear music like that, Vino Vriday Volume 6, Friday, September 13th. You know, Friday the 13th, always very spooky.
Oh, shit.
You know what I'm saying? Get a little dark out. Late night edition, 11 to 3:30 a.m. at the beautiful Red Pavilion in Brooklyn. It's going to be a good vibe. You know, Jerrell be traveling a lot. He don't make it to all of them, but he about to make it to this one.
I'm making it this
you know
one,
what I'm
you
saying?
know,
It's about to be a
passion,
movie.
emotion, all that.
Biggest one yet. Latest one yet. Full DJ lineup, all that. Check it out on IG. But yeah, bro, appreciate you coming through.
Appreciate you.
And
for having
I'll
me,
see
man.
y'all Vino Friday. You all right? My boy. Appreciate you.
Nah, 100%.
Peace.
Smooth.